CRN, Chuck Wilder here. Let me tell you about my guest, the one and only Kimberly D. Borak, award-winning national security, border security investigative reporter for TV, radio, and the print media. Kimberly, by the way, is the senior foreign policy advisor for the Committee for Responsible Foreign Policy. She's a TV correspondent at CW News 6 in San Diego, as well as One America News Network. Her website is thekdreport.com, and as we speak, she is streaming live on periscope.com and Facebook. She'll be on YouTube a little bit later on. If you're looking for her, make sure you spell that name, D-B-O-R-A-K. There you are, the beautiful lady waving. How are you? How are you?
I'm fine. How about yourself?
I am fair to partly cloudy today, and lots of things happening. And we have a lot to cover. Something I've touched on the program, and I'm telling you, it's described the worst immigration bill that no one ever heard of. And thank God the word is getting out, because the House Dems have got this absolutely
Is this what they have?
terrible.
Is this what they have? The new way forward, which I was going to say that I wanted to talk about right now?
Yeah, the new way forward. What does that say?
It's,
Oh yeah, new way forward. I can see that. Yes. Okay. Boy,
actually,
clever
yeah,
name, isn't it?
it's insane to think that the Democrats, 44 of them who signed on to this, by the way, so it's not a small number like a couple of fringe members of Congress. You know, we're talking 44 lawmakers that support this. And I really think they were hoping that it was going to be an easy cakewalk to either impeach President Trump or boot him out of office in November and have this legislation standing by so they could pass this moving forward. And as you said, this is, people that I've talked to about this over the weekend are just stunned that this would be something the United States government. And, just for an example, if you or I were at a courthouse and we were paying a speeding ticket, and we were wanted on armed robbery charges somewhere else, the law enforcement can come into that courtroom, arrest you, and take you to jail. Under the rules of this proposed legislation, they would not have that happen, so they could go in, pay their speeding ticket, and not get apprehended for a crime they're alleged to commit. And these are felonies. These aren't misdemeanors. These are felonies. So they're in essence making these illegals a protected class and making the taxpayers pay for it, because as you know, we deport a lot of drug cartel people. A lot of them are leaders, presumably El Chapo. They serve time in Mexico. Under this new proposed legislation, if they were in this United States before they got deported, the U.S. taxpayer would pay for their air ticket to come home to America. And these are, this could be convicted drug cartel leaders who are, gone to jail for murdering. And the taxpayers are expected to spend at a cost of about $1 billion. So I think, when you look at this, a lot of the people that are supporting this are people who, like the AOC people who don't think that we need to have borders. A lot of Hispanics that are serving in Congress, they support this. Probably some of their members are in Mexico. They'd like to see them come to America. But when it comes down to, we're going to give them a special right that U.S. citizens don't have, then you're talking extraordinarily about a lot of, lawlessness that we're going to be bringing and importing back into our country that we work to get them out of this country. So, I think legal immigrants ought to be just as upset about this, because they would be able to be arrested at a courthouse if they were in there paying their speeding ticket. But you and I could go to jail, but apparently these new folks will not be subject to that same law. Now, does it have a chance of passing in the House? Maybe. Will it get through the Senate? Probably not. And if President Trump, is reelected, then there is no way that this goes anywhere. Obviously, he would never sign something like this. But they're proposing this. It's like a 4,500 board piece of legislation saying that we're going to give them all free health care. We're going to give them a leg up in the country. They're going to get free education. I mean, all these things that Americans and the middle class, flyover country, myself included, a lot of people work paycheck to paycheck. They're trying to save enough money to maybe send their kids to college. They're going to this, soccer games on the weekend, working 2 jobs, and all of these things. And this is such a slap in the face to people who are actually doing. I mean, it's so profoundly, unbelievable. I wish I could say it's unbelievable, but we know what's going on in D.C. And the name of the game for the Democrats is legalize as many of these people as they can because they know they'll be their voters.
Well, and I'm telling you, listener, if you read this, okay, and you look at this, you'd almost say, oh, somebody made up this funny little deal and put it on Facebook.
Yeah, like Onion. The Onion. They do those mock things. Yeah, that's what I thought.
But President Buttigieg or maybe President Sanders, yeah. See, they would like this because you have to take a bunch of additional steps if you're going to detain illegal alien who doesn't speak English, okay, is a gay or transgender, or if you're under 21. And then this one here, number 5 on your list, in court, they will be unable to use an alien's criminal history as evidence that they might be dangerous. What in the world is going on?
Yeah. See, and that's where if you're the leader of a drug cartel in Mexico and you serve jail time, that doesn't disqualify you from coming to this country, which in fact has a very large drug problem. So, I mean, the world, I think, with this legislation has got to be laughing at us because I think other countries that have a lot of these migrants in their country that have moved up from the Middle East and all that would probably even pop for buying the airplane ticket to send those people to America since we're going to take care of everybody. But I mean, when you look at this, and again, healthcare is always an issue. Everybody always needs healthcare or will need it at some point in their life. And for the people who go to the doctor and then they get their bills over and above the copay, are shelling out money for that. But when you look at this legislation, this is not going to be the same for these folks coming in the country. So tell that to the single mom who's working 2 jobs. Yeah, you're going to have to pay extra because we have to take care of these people because they don't speak the language. It's a really rough life for them. And, you're just going to have to stand in line and pay your more than fair share so we can help these people who broke laws and aren't stand-up good citizens to stay in this country, or, we pay for them to come back. I mean, you can't tell me single moms, soccer moms are going to go, yeah, that's cool. You know what? Take that money. I can really, I don't need to pay for my electricity this month. I really want to help those people out. But that's a case. It's single moms and single dads, and that's an option. Sometimes they don't get medication because they can't afford it because they got to feed their kids. So do I think this is going to pass? I don't think so, but it just shows the depths of where the Democrat Party has moved to. And if this is something that 44 members of Congress, actually want to move forward, I mean, then, we're headed off that cliff sooner than a lot of people think. Yeah.
They ought to call it no way forward, but, they come up with these clever acts, affordable.
Well, it sounds good. It sounds good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And let me tell you something, listener. Remember, it's House Resolution as in Pelosi's house, okay? House Resolution 5383. 5383. Probably going to cost you about $5,383 a month just to support all this. I got to be nice with the words. Yeah. Okay, I will be. Hey, let's go to, the State of the Union. Love it when a president starts talking about immigration. I'm talking to a lot of, spoke with a lot of my guests that are tied in with immigration. And it's refreshing that you have a president that doesn't hee-haw when it comes to illegal immigration. Yeah. And the sanctuary policies, he really socked it to him on that, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, the president has always been a proponent of, the building the Great Wall and to curtail some of this, illegal immigration, to, have this be a lot fairer for American families first, and then if we have any left over, allow these people to come and, you know, find their new life once they go through the legal process. The president, throwing that out, you know, the majority of the country support the president on that issue. Those are issues in the State of the Union, primarily were issues that the Republican, you know, voting bloc were on board with him. And to see the, you know, the Democrats not clap for anything, to be completely disrespectful on a lot of these things. I think what you've seen, and now we're seeing President Trump's polling numbers rise. I think that especially it was just the nail on the head on Tuesday with the State of the Union speech that, look, you know, I'm with you guys. I'm president. I'm trying to do this. And it really showed the Democrats how they really feel. They can't stand and applaud a Tuskegee Airman that was, you know, given, you know, reached the highest honors and fought for this country, African-American guy. They can't stand for that. They can't stand for, you know, a young girl whose family could not pay for her to go to college. And now she's going to be getting a scholarship and Fulbright to whatever college she gets into and chooses to attend. You can't stand up for that. And it just seemed so sad to see, you know, these people. I mean, most Democrats believe in those issues, and I think that we're seeing a huge shift now, if you will, not shift, but he contributed to where the Democrats have gone. But I think you've heard there's a lot of people now that I think the Democrats have lost independence. I think what's going on within the primaries, you know, it's, you know, they're on a bidding thing. Free healthcare. Oh, I'm going to relieve the student loan debt. I'm going to do, you know, I mean, all these different things are offering all this free stuff, but most people really know that free isn't free, and it's going to cost somebody else money, and we're 24 trillion in debt. So it's likely going to be the middle class that will get saddled with all of this. So yeah, I mean, he spoke to his base. I think that his base has been disappointed on this front with the president. So he's moving quicker to get that wall closer to being finished. He's already going after sanctuary states and cities because, you know, there are a lot of criminals, again, going back to that courtroom, there's a lot of criminals that are in there, and, you know, they have no business being in this country, and yet these states and cities, you know, shield them from law enforcement. And in essence, to, you know, they're saying, you know, the president's saying they broke the law. If you guys want to change the law, then that's fine. I'll follow what the law is. But the law states these people, you can't provide sanctuary to killers. Are we going to, like, say, let out, you know, a Charles Manson type killer and say, yeah, he's okay, he can live outside, we're not going to worry about it? It's just insane where they're going with this. And most America is not on board with a good portion of the Democrats' platform right now.
Well, you know, and they want to ignore statistics. They don't want you to hear the statistics.
Yeah.
And you have an interesting one here. Orange County, California, talked about how they reported 25% of the illegal aliens recommit crimes after being released under these sanctuary laws.
Yeah.
And you say that last year, Orange County was forced to release 1,105 criminal illegal aliens rather than turn them over to ICE.
Yeah.
Now, almost 50%, 238, were rearrested for little minor charges, you might call it, like rape, domestic violence.
Child abuse.
Yeah, child sex offenses,
Yeah.
50%, I mean, that's almost 50% right there.
Yeah, it is. And when you talk to law enforcement about this, I mean, the morale you go to any police station across the country, especially in the blue states, the morale is so low, they can't even, like, enforce the law. And they have to just kind of let a lot of this stuff go. And for them, you know, they signed up to be, you know, law enforcement and serve the communities. And they're being asked not to serve the communities, but you can go after Americans, but just don't go after this new protected class of illegal aliens. They know these people go back out and recommit acts. And, you know, say that, you know, one of them goes out, an arresting officer brought him in, they're released, and then they go back out and commit a murder. That law enforcement officer that made that original arrest, how is he feeling? at night, knowing that because the government didn't keep him in jail, then now he has to go investigate a murder. It's just there are cases after cases. Yes.
Good example of that, Kimberly, is what happened with the MS-13 thing in New York.
Yeah.
Where they were forced to let out the guy that was protecting a guy, and they had to give him the information. Here's his name, here's where he lives, and then they go and kill him. I'll tell you what, we're coming up on our break. Interesting how the economy is doing so good for America, and it's kind of doing better for Mexico, too, because of what we call remittances. And we're going to talk about that and wrap things up when we come back with Kimberly Dvorak. Kimberly Dvorak, streaming live, Periscope.com, Facebook, and later on at YouTube. Well, so let me see here. I'm looking for the figure. $36 billion last year. That's a good amount of money coming in, and you just sit there and wait for it to pour in, right?
Yep. So, the $36 billion went to Mexico. Obviously, these people, approximately 7.5 million Mexicans, work inside the United States, and they're sending a lot of that money home to Mexico. And we can kind of make the analogy here, go back to the healthcare. If they can afford to send money home to Mexico and their families down there, then they can afford to pay for their healthcare. So they should be, there's got to be new legislation and drawn up with these remittances, because this is $36 billion that came out of the U.S. economy that could have been used to, pay back hospitals, could have been used to build infrastructure, could have been used to hire people. That money's taken out of the U.S. economy and sent to other countries. And I think one of the other main takeaways with this is the other top two countries that are getting the remittances. Most people won't know this, and I was shocked, but the second largest is India, and then the third largest recipient is China. We're giving China money. So again, these are stories you're not.
Kimberly, in your report, okay, and I was going to ask you about this because it says Mexico is the third largest recipient.
Yeah.
India is number one, and then China, and that surprised the heck out of me.
Yeah, because most people think that this is going to be Mexico, Central America, that type of thing, because that's what I think what everybody associates with. But when you look at these other countries here, why should we be sending China money in the first place? And again, if these people come to the country, they're working, whether it's legally or illegally, the money needs to stay here. And sending the money home, if they're collecting any kind of free health care, if they're getting any kind of programs where they're getting school lunches and things like that, if they have that money to send home to their home countries, they certainly can pay for this and take a little burden off of the U.S. taxpayer for a change. But that requires legislation, and I don't see Congress anytime soon coming up with a law trying to monitor this program. And it's, again, I think it's just another one of these entitlement programs that once it's out there, you can't get rid of, but they can certainly craft the law in a different way so they can enforce this a little bit better to see, where these families and what their bank accounts look like, and look at, what their other, expenses are, again, like hospital bills and things of that nature. So that's stunning. To me, it was just shocking.
Just half of that. Rounding it out, it's about $18 billion going out of this country. So here we got $36 billion.
Every
year.
The
thing is, send it to your wife and husband that you left back in the country or whatever, your relatives. That's your prerogative. Yeah. But, that is a heck of a lot of money, and it just shows you're not suffering at all too much. In the great USA. Exactly.
Well, so that's it. So but that's just what America, and this stuff isn't in the news. Mainstream media doesn't touch it. And if they knew about this and what we were talking about with the new way forward, then they'd be appalled. And hopefully, we're going to start getting some more journalists out there that want to do their job and actually report on real news.
Yeah. Well, read this whole report at kdreport.com, and there's Mr. Garcia Luna. In Miami, he's doing pretty good. Boy, You had some good information this time, Kelly, and we are all out of time. Kelly Nelson, Nelson, and Views with Views. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Kimberly, but that's okay.
Kelly Nelson is coming up next. Kimberly Dvorak is saying adios.